Hello, you've made it back to the Teens at Boys and Girls Clubs of Western Pennsylvania YouTube page. I'm Miss Emily from CareerWorks, and I am here to bring you our third installment of What Are Power Skills? Today we are talking about resilience, but before we get started on that, I want to recap, in case you didn't see our Intro to Power Skills video, what is a power skill, right? So more commonly known as soft skills, but at the Boys and Girls Clubs, we really like to call them power skills because we find that they are that important and that powerful. So power skills are career attributes and skills that are absolutely vital for work. They enable people to navigate their environment, work well with others, perform well, achieve their goals. Think these skills help you to get the job that you want and to be successful in it. And these soft skills combined with hard skills, which are particular to an industry, for example, with medicine or the trades or information technology. When you combine hard skills and knowledge that you need for a particular job with power skills that you can use in any job, you get a really successful employee. So again, power skills are the most important. They are transferable to any job or career, and despite whatever field you want to go into, you need to develop these soft skills, these power skills, because they will make you successful. They'll make you able to adapt to whatever job you choose to go to, or if you choose to change career paths at any point in your life. So today we'll talk about resilience. So from the Oxford Dictionary, definition of resilience is that the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness. And another definition, also from Oxford Dictionary, is the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, or elasticity. So, to summarize those things, resilience is really the ability to bounce back after something gets in your way. Whether it's a big thing or a small thing, it's your ability to overcome that and to get back on track. It's a mindset, really, right? It's almost the belief that you can continue to reach your goals, to work towards your goals, despite whatever obstacles get in your way, that you will be able to recover. And resilience is super important. That's why we chose it for our second video, because it applies to everyday life, not just your job. And also it connects many other soft skills, which we'll talk about later. So resilience is used anytime that you do something that you don't really want to do, or something that you know that you should do, but again, you're just not the most motivated to do it, especially in any given moment. You are tempted to not do that thing. AKA, this is self-discipline, right? And it really connects to how you show up for the things that you commit to, and what you do when you've committed to something that you aren't feeling anymore, or again, in that one moment, you're just not really feeling like doing. So my favorite analogy for this is when I was talking to one of my students who wants to be a professional football player, okay? He gets a lot of detentions for not going to class. And so what I said to him was, if you're deciding in that moment when you are deciding if you're going to go to class or not, right? You're walking down the hallway, the bell's about to ring, and you're like, I need to go to this class. Like, I shouldn't get another detention, but like, I really don't want to go. And ultimately the easier decision is to do the thing that you want to do, right? Not go to class. And the harder decision is to go to class, which you know that you should do, but you don't really want to do, right? And it's a hard decision, right? It doesn't sound like a hard decision, especially if you've never cut class before, but it's hard because if we don't practice making decisions that are difficult, or deciding to do things that we don't really want to do, we aren't developing this muscle, this mindset of resilience that we can use in other situations. So I said to my football player, this is the same thing as when you're on the football field at practice, right? Say you were up late playing video games and you're really tired and you have to practice a drill, but you don't want to. And you're like, you know what? I've done this drill before. I'm good at it. Like, I don't need to practice anymore. You do need to practice, right? Your coach would say, absolutely, you need to practice, because what is going to happen when you are on the field and it's the championships and there's a lot of pressure? It's the end of the game. You're tired. You've been playing your heart out and you have to go the extra mile to win this game, right? If you haven't practiced going the extra mile, it's going to be very difficult for you to say to yourself, dig deep, do this thing that you don't want to do. Like, you're tired, you want to give up, right? Of course, in this situation, the championship is going to motivate you a bit, but it's also a lot of pressure, right? Similarly, you can feel a lot of pressure if you skip class a lot And, what is the teacher going to say? What are your friends going to say when you finally show up? Like, oh, haha, look at this guy. He decided to show up. Ultimately, you're developing resilience because the same muscle that helps you to decide to go to class if you don't want to is the same muscle that helps you to decide to run that drill one more time. So, again, everyday life circumstances, right? And resilience is connected to so many other soft skills because we know that lots of soft skills are interrelated, they rely on each other, and they work together. So some other soft skills that resilience connects to includes continuous learning, which we'll talk about in a minute, communication. If you watched my last video about communication, you might remember my example of talking to my mom on the phone and how I get frustrated and how I have to rely on some patience when I don't want to communicate with her anymore because we are having a misunderstanding. Resilience can also apply in this situation just like patience does, because I need to be willing to try again, right? I need to be willing to, even though I want to yell at my mom and I want to maybe not be so nice. I need to just really dig deep and say, listen, you have the patience in you. You have the empathy in you to talk to her. Find it, try again. That's resilience. So other soft skills, power skills that resilience relates to includes problem solving, work ethic, flexibility. Again, it helps us to adapt to situations because maybe it's a situation that you've never been in before. And instead of necessarily saying you are going to bounce back, it's more like you're going to try, even though you're not sure that you can do it. So that's how it relates to flexibility. Also, determination and commitment. I feel that these two are really great synonyms for resilience, and they're really like the energy or the intent behind your resilience. Because if you are determined and you're committed to something, again, think of the football player. He's committed to being a great football player, but in the moment, you're tired and it's a hard decision to make to keep running the drill. So your determination can help fuel your resiliency in that moment. It also relates to social emotional intelligence. For instance, if you are working on a group project at school or at work, and one of your teammates is having a bad day, at first you might take that personally. You might think like, oh, I did something to offend them, and then you might not want to work with them anymore. But if you realize through your social emotional intelligence, your ability to understand other people's emotions, that you did nothing to make them have a bad day, maybe you ask them like, hey, what's up? You doing okay? And they say, I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Like, it's nothing personal. You can use resilience to then recover, to get rid of your bad feelings about not wanting to work with that person, and to move on, to be able to finish your project. Finally, I already mentioned self-discipline, because ultimately resilience takes practice and it does take commitment, right? If you want to get better at something, if you want to get less detentions, you have to be committed to going to class more often. It's as simple as that. In that equation, it seems really simple, but I will just go back and say that self-discipline is a process. And I think that self-discipline and resilience, learning those two things go hand in hand, because it takes practice. It takes a willingness to try and try again. So how can we practice? There are three main ways that I'm going to give you that you can practice resilience. So the first thing, trying things that are challenging, right? So think sports, like my football analogy. Think physical activities when you are doing a workout and you're like, oh, this is hard, I want to quit early. Go that extra mile, try to finish. But this is also really similar. Again, it's a very similar mindset and muscle in your brain as it is to practicing a subject in school that is not come easily to you. So for instance, practicing math or practicing writing, if those things aren't easy for you, that will help you to build resilience because you're choosing to do something that's not easy. You're choosing to try again and again and again on something that is difficult. And that will just build your own self-efficacy and your belief in yourself that you can do this hard thing. So how can I use that doing hard things daily? Be committed. Make a daily commitment to do one thing that is difficult for you, to decide to actively engage in that decision. And every day decide, okay, math is hard for me. I'm going to spend a half hour every day extra on my math homework, on practicing this math skill. Or, I really don't like running. I'm a baseball player, a softball player, and I love the game, but I hate when I have to run a lot. I'm going to spend 3 times a week, I'm going to run for 30 minutes just so I can get better. Be committed to that. Do something that's challenging for you. Number 2, allow yourself to experience the emotions that you have when you are frustrated that something didn't go well. Give yourself a set amount of time to feel that feeling, and then say, after this amount of time has passed, I'm going to move on. So being able to recognize your emotion and let that emotion have a space, and recognize that it is valid will be important, because if you just beat yourself up for saying like, oh, I suck at math, I suck at sports, you're not giving yourself any positivity, and you do need a lot of positive energy to be able to be resilient. So again, if something doesn't go your way, say you work at a fast food restaurant and you just applied to be the manager and somebody else got the job. Okay, let yourself be upset for a day or two, and then the next time you go into work, put it behind you so that you can, show good customer service to the customers, so that you can be a good teammate, an employee, and not let your negative feelings about missing the promotion get in the way of your job performance. Allow yourself the time to feel that emotion, and then determine a time when you will definitely move on and put the past behind you. Number 3, be open to continuous learning. We have to acknowledge that there might be another similarly great way to do something that we've figured out how to do, or there might be a better way to do something. And we're never going to learn that and improve ourselves if we can't open ourselves up to that possibility, and to honestly just be willing to admit that we might be wrong. If we can't see when we are wrong, again, we're not going to improve on those things. So, to recap, do something that's challenging. Allow yourself time to experience your negative emotions when something doesn't go your way, and then pick a time when you're going to move on and use your resilience muscle. And number 3, be open to continuous learning. And those 3 things will help you to develop more resiliency. So I hope that you all liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, go ahead on and watch some more of our Power Skills video, and we hope to see you all soon.